with a special restaurant expert roundup. We're going to talk to two fellas who know a hell of a lot about pizza, about how to perfect the cost of your pie. Be back in a second. I'm always back here dancing when that beat drops. I'm the whitest guy out there. So, Nick, Siler, I'm going to have y'all introduce yourself, but I want to give you context of why I reached out to Nick, and it was your post you made the other day, Nick, about food costs. So we have a restaurant client of ours. We have a lot that we work with driving people into the restaurant. And this client had like 500 people that came in the restaurant in 1 month from the marketing we did with Facebook, and was confused because of the profit. The sales were there, but the money seemed to be going the opposite way. And oddly enough, I know their rep from their food company. And he happened to be coming by for lunch. And I said, hey, I want to bounce this off you because I don't run pizza shops. I'm not a restaurant operator. I'm not a cost segregation person, a menu pricing person. I'm a marketing and sales person. And I said, so I'm trying to look at this. I'm analyzing what we're doing and what we could do better. And he looks at what we're doing and he said, I can tell you one of your big problems. I go, what do you mean? He goes, Matt, I actually just noticed this with this restaurant because I saw their prices the other day. One of the 4 items you're driving people in for these 500 visits, they're losing money on. They're losing $1. They got it priced completely wrong. We've been talking about it. And that if you're driving, let's say 300 people in to buy a product that they're losing money on, you're doing your job, except for the fact that they've just got something that's not plated correctly. And to me, I understand enough to be dangerous on it, but it was wild because I had never looked at it from a standpoint that our company consults with the restaurants on, hey, here's what we know works best from a marketing standpoint. We're making an assumption that the restaurant knows what the heck they're selling and understands the price of it. And the same guy made a comment that he was at a restaurant a couple of days earlier and was having a burger, and it's not a client of his, and he knows the owner, and he said, hey, quick question for you. He goes, yeah. He goes, why'd you just pay me $2 to eat this burger? Guy looked at him confused. What are you talking about? He goes, well, I priced out your burgers. I'm sitting here. You're selling it for $8. This is a $12 burger easily. He's like, your cost is $2 more than what you just charged me. And the guy was confused and then ended up making some changes. But I guess first, Nick, Siler, introduce yourselves. Tell me about the app, and let's go from there.
Yeah, sure, Matt. Thanks for the introduction. First off, that restaurateur that you're describing definitely isn't the only one that runs into that. I think a lot of restaurateurs run into that where they get worried because their sales are going the opposite direction. They start to market some great special, and then before you know it, they're paying somebody to come in and eat that burger or eat that pizza.
Yep.
And that's really what we've worked on. I have seven restaurants, full service restaurants. Pizza is our specialty in Pittsburgh, PA. I'm part of Perfecting Pizza along with Siler. We've created a great app that'll do exactly what you're talking about. It'll break down the cost of all your menu items and tell you exactly day to day as the invoices go up and down what the cost of your product is. And it actually even gives you a suggested retail price too. So I'll let Siler introduce himself, and we can't wait to lay it out for you so you can understand exactly what we do.
Yeah, Siler Champman here, 3-time world pizza champion, and I have 6 food trucks here in the Charlotte area. We do all wood-fired pizzas. I've been in the franchise world from brick and mortar. We had 15 concepts here in Charlotte, or 15 different brick and mortar pizza places. Also started my very first pizzeria when I was 18 years old. So I was one of the guys that, hey, I knew you could make a good pizza, get money in the cash drawer, didn't really know where it went after that. I thought I could spend it all, right? So, being young and dumb and very naive back then, I had to learn the hard way. Truly what I didn't go to business school. I came straight out of 1 year at UNC Charlotte for mechanical engineering. And I said, I just want to open a pizza place. And so I literally had to learn the hard way going on food costs I didn't even know you had to match payroll taxes, so I was like, I got to do what, so luckily my mom was a trade accountant and stepped in very quickly and kind of came to save the day kind of thing, so But it took me a long time understanding really how do we, price structure. I just knew we were in a good market. Pizza's a low food cost, However, we had this thing COVID happen. And so all costs have gone up. Everything's gone through the roof. Now you're having to put a sticker on some places. You need to put a sticker on your boxes so that people aren't touching your food. It just makes people feel safer. So really, where is that cost? Or how do you cost that out? How do you really know that? And when we were building this app, we wanted to make it very simple where a 7-year-old can do it and all the way to a 70-year-old can figure out how to use the app with video tutorials on how simple can it really be, and it's not about you need to know every menu item. It's what are the basics of a pasta dish. You can cost this out all the way. I used to run a buy one, get one free on Wednesdays. That was a thing, where to have a pasta. And until a gentleman by the name of Big Dave Ostrander came in and said, Siler, guess what? You're paying those people $4 to come eat with you. And I'm like, no, it's buy one, get one free. What do you mean? And didn't even have a clue, but I was literally paying them to come into the restaurant. So that's where this app, if you just take 3 minutes, we didn't want something. Listen, POSs do this. A lot of people's systems already have food cost inventory. However, it takes 8 to 10 weeks to set the thing up. We need a quick glimpse of what this item is going to cost. Or if I'm bringing a new pizza on the menu, what is my true cost? Because I've got all these new ingredients that I'm bringing in. Cheese went up 30%. Everything's going up. Your pizza box is going up. Put it in the app, takes 3 minutes, and it tells you a true cost. And then it suggests to you, if you want to run a 20% food cost, it'll tell you what price you need to even have it at. So.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing. I remember, I don't know if you know Bruce Nelson, but Bruce has a restaurant accounting book that's out, and he's got some restaurants he's the comptroller of up in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And he had told me one time about a restaurant that he had that went out of business that he started. He said, one of the biggest mistakes I made was my burger was priced because of the burger down the street at that restaurant was $9.99. So my burger was $9.99, not based off what I actually had in the burger. It was priced that way. And I've heard some stats from different professionals in the business, like David Scott Peters, and I've seen stats that you guys have put up, and I've heard from reps from PFG and Cisco and US Foods that somewhere in the neighborhood of like 80 to 90% of restaurants weren't looking at it hardcore before the pandemic and now aren't looking at it often enough. And that you've got to know what it costs to put that product, whether it's in the person's car with third party or whether it's at their house delivering the pizza or whether it's in your dining room. And I remember one of the restaurateurs told me his biggest issue he ran into that he's mad at was, he's a good operator. He's a great operator. He's like, it's just in the hecticness of COVID that I turned around in June to realize, man, we hadn't accounted for the fact that everybody was takeout now. And we just, we didn't raise prices because we were, we wanted to make sure we still had our business. He's like, but I looked at how much we spent on styrofoam and to-go forks and, the little packets. And he said, you quickly realized you had to get that under control. And I would imagine with what you're talking about now that, prices are changing now more than they did 3 or 4 years ago, right?
And it's weekly. Like back in the day, it used to be 2-3, weeks before something would change. Now it's literally daily to every other week something. And there's prices that are going down, right? But then there's other things that are just going crazy high. And so, I've been helping some guys and saying, okay, streamline your menu. Look at Chick-fil-A. They only really have 3-4 items really that they cook or make. But they have a bigger menu that's spread out, but get lean and mean, the things that are just losing you money, get rid of it. Your customers aren't going to leave you, but we operators get scared that hey, if we go up $1, our customers are going to leave, but they didn't leave the gas station when it went up 80% the other week, so
wow.
Again,
it's a good point.
but if you look at it like that, they're not going to leave you. If you're putting out a memorable product, if you're giving
that's a key element, memorable product, a great experience, a good customer service.
You got to get better at that every day, right? I mean, you got to go still win your customers and you got to get better on that segment of it. But again, you got to know every dollar right now. And this is showing people using this app. I show it every day. I was just on a training call with some sales reps with this product, and they were like, "Oh my God, we can take this, show our customer that it's okay to raise $1, go up $2.
Yeah.
Some guys are going to have to go up $2.50 because they're so still in 2010 prices, right?" And it's funny. I pulled a menu out from 2001 the other day. And looking at the prices, pizza is the only price that everybody tries to stay the same for 20 years. And unfortunately, we're going to have to just go up,
So, Nick, talking about in your brick and mortar, because you're up to what, like 7 locations now?
Yeah, we actually just opened 2 in the last 5 months. So, yeah, we expanded from 5 to 7 restaurants here. Yep. I hope we can say post-COVID.
we think it depends on who has a microphone in a couple of weeks saying what it is or not. But in the brick and mortar part, like you mentioned earlier, that you can suggest the price in there, and obviously food trucks from brick and mortar is different, and people that are, especially in the pizza space, I've got a pizza place down the street from my house that has no tables. I've got one that has 1 table. I've got one that has 200 tables. When you look at your restaurants and you look at pricing your products, how do you balance that? You said the app has the ability to suggest prices. How do you balance in there the difference between what it costs you to deliver that pizza of me sitting in your showroom or at my house or third party?
That's a great question. So I think we'll start with the third party. The third party is a way that we have been able to now, and the third parties, I think COVID forced them to do this. Originally, you couldn't add an extra percentage to the third party. Yep. It had to match your menu. So not spend too much time on it, but now just add 10 to 12% onto there. Yep. And negotiate with them about leaving or about going exclusive with one versus the other. And you'll see that if you're at 25% or 20%, you can definitely get into the teens if you negotiate with them, and then you throw back some of that on there. And then I think when you get into how do you price out your product, we look at it like we have 50% is pickup post-COVID, where before it was maybe like 25% pickup, 40% to 50% dine-in, and then the rest was delivery. But now it's shifted. It's 50% pickup, it's 10% delivery, and it's 30% dine-in. So I mean that pickup number doubled. So we just price everything like it's a pickup. That's the way. So
I like it.
They're paying for we price the box in. Siler mentioned about a sticker that goes over so you can't open up. So the driver, if it goes third party, they didn't open up and take a breadstick out and eat it. We price that sticker into the cost. We price the liner, if the pizza gets a liner, everything priced in, and along with all the ingredients that make the pizza, and that's what we shoot our food cost off of. And then if you get a dining customer, some of that 30% dining customer, your food costs actually can be a little lower because they're not getting the box, the sticker, and such. But it's important to really, like Siler's saying, if it's not a day-to-day thing, it has to be a week-to-week thing where you're working on your food costs. And I think where I get the most questions is opening 7 stores in 10 years and doing the volume we do. Everyone's like, what's the secret ingredient? What's the magic sauce here? But really, the truth is, I worked for the corporate guys for so long, and they talked about things and religiously, food costs, labor costs. Yep. Like those were things that were ingrained in me. I didn't really realize that in the independent world that's not really common, that how to break down a schedule, number by number, dollar by dollar, hour by hour, how to break down food costs all the way to what a single pepperoni costs, what an ounce of dough costs. And I think when you start to get into your business and say, okay, I need to really know what my product costs so that I can price it right. It's eye-opening. It's almost path changing in the way that you run your business is when you do that. And that's what our app lets you do. For the longest time, perfectingpizza.com, we're subscription based, where you can go on there month by month, and we have tons of videos on how to do anything in pizzeria. We have all the manuals, all the HR stuff. I mean, it's just loaded with information for you to run a pizzeria. Then we decided, with everything going on, how do we take it a step farther? And we said we want to keep the pizzerias in business. So how do we do that? And that's where the app came from. We knew that if we could go ahead and create the app and show people how to really run their costs, we're going to keep them in business longer.
Yeah, one thing that it relates to me on that is I remember, and this is every business, and this is one thing I tell restaurant owners is, having outside eyes looking at what you're doing, whether it's marketing or operations or accounting. My banker that I had breakfast with yesterday, I had him in this studio for a podcast a few months ago, and he said, Matt, one of the biggest mistakes that he sees small businesses make is they don't have a board of directors. And he doesn't mean, okay, you don't have a corporate board of directors, but you've got your banker, your accountant, a coach. You've got people that you can turn to, because what brought the conversation up was I hosted probably 20 different webinars during the early pandemic about PPP and IDLE. And I just leveraged experts I knew. I didn't know a damn thing. And my phone rang off the hook all the time with restaurant owners asking me advice about accounting. And I'm like, well, that's not good. And it was because they didn't have a network. But one of the things that I learned a lot back when we had our boat dealership, I'll never forget this because it was really eye-opening and relates to what you just said. Like knowing that even the cost of that sticker was that we were selling 700 boats and campers a year. We were doing 15 million a year operation. We were doing a lot of sales. But me and my dad weren't that analytical person. We didn't come from corporate. We didn't have kind of that breakdown. Well, I had this guy one time come in who was a consultant, and he looked at our operation. He's like, Matt, you realize you're selling that $50,000 Skeeter bass boat back there, and you've got your price, this, that, and the other. He's like, you're not charging for the 8 quarts of oil going in that tank. And I'm like, what do you mean? And like it was like just literally something basic that you're thinking, oh, well, we can't let the boat leave without oil or leave without gas. And he's like, I don't disagree, but you also got to charge for it. And it was wild when you opened your eyes and saw what we thought at a $15 million operation wasn't a big deal of, oh, it's $20 of oil per boat. And you add it up and you go, oh, crap. And it's the same in the pizza world, that when you look at that box that, like you said, what were you before the pandemic, Nick, with regards to takeout? You said you're 50% now. What were you then?
Yeah, we were probably 30%, 25%. I mean, we doubled it easily. And then height of the pandemic, sure, we were 70, 80% picked up. I mean,
so like really now you're sitting here, you've expanded your dining room because you're in other dining rooms now, a lot more to go, which is a good thing. It gives you more capacity. But at the same time, you now have, instead of pizzas going out on trays, you got more boxes, you got stickers, you got more napkins. I had a smoothie shop I go to all the time that I would crack up. I go there 3 to 4 days a week. I'll get some from there today. And when I would get my acai bowl, I would get this stack of napkins, these giant napkins, like 10 of them. And I'm like, dude, I need like 2 napkins. And they throw them in there. Well, now they've gotten smarter. I now get like 3 napkins in their little tiny squares. I'm like, hey, they probably minuscule savings per customer, but multiplied over a course of a year, it's going to make a huge impact.
Yeah. Pennies
can I add on to what
to dimes, and dimes to quarters, quarters to dollars, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And I want to add on this what Nick said about takeout. Now let's go to stats. $480,000 is your average mom and pop sales per year for a pizza place. Okay. The average profit for a mom and pop shop is 6%. Okay. Yep. Now I'm about to blow your mind on this. Now that's average. Okay. We're talking average. So we got the guys that are losing money. Okay. Already. This is on the app right now. I made a dine-in button and I made a to-go 10-inch pepperoni. I want to go through the stats with you on this. Okay. It's going to blow your mind. 10-inch pepperoni dine in to make, okay, to put it on a platter and send it out. Dough, sauce, cheese, and pepperoni. It's going to cost $1.24. This is my true stats, my true numbers right now. Okay. It's going to cost me $1.24. I sell this pizza for what are we selling this? This one for $11. Okay. Now on this, I've got it at $12. Okay. I just want to show you $12 here. Okay. So we're going to go up to 12 because I'm having to go each. I've had 4 price increases in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's that bad right now. Okay. So again, it's costing me $1.24 to make. And I have a different factor. I've got fuel. We're mobile, right? We're food trucks.
Yep.
So I'm getting killed on diesel right now, right? So my food cost is 10.35% to make that one pizza at $12. Okay. If I go to add a pizza box, I got to have a liner because the worst thing you can do in a pizza is put it in a box, right? So I got to put a perfect crust liner in there. And here's where we go. I put a sticker on there. I put a box stack. I call it the little pizza box table so it doesn't squish. box,
Yep.
right? So you put one of those in there now. That now has gone to $1.74 to make. My food costs at the same price as 14.5%. So I just went up 4.2 or 4.15%, just like that, by having to do to go.
Wow.
4%, and on the same pizza. So what is everybody else doing in the markets? All the restaurants, the fine dine guys that are having to put steaks now in containers, and they're keeping the same price. All this is added price, and this is where, some people are saying, hey, do we do a to-go fee, of $4 or $5, whatever it may be, right? My biggest thing is people are tired of the nickel and diamond line. Just add it into your cost and be done. Make it look pretty,
What
Hey,
do you think about dynamic pricing? I talked to a restaurant the other day. Like, one thing I'm blown away with. I eat out all the time. My team, I've got teams that travel the country that film for our show. Restaurants that went back to regular menus. I was at Cali Barbecue the other day out in San Diego, and he's got the QR code to the menu. There is no printed menu. It's all order on your phone, which I like how he's done that with. He's used Toast is who he uses. But the one thing I've talked to restaurateurs about, I'm like, if you don't have a printed menu and you go to a dynamically priced product like your point of sale ordering system, that I don't pay attention to the food. If I go into this pizza place and my pizza is $9.99 one day, and then a week later it's $10.27, and then a week later it's $9.83. I think nowadays that with the advent of the QR code, I mean, we've used the QR code for like 8 years, and people thought we were crazy 7-8 years ago, and now everybody knows it. That I'm wondering, why haven't more restaurants gone to milk changes every time I go to the damn grocery store. Gas is different every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Why not, as a restaurant, just go dynamic market pricing all the time? Don't publish prices that are permanent, that are printed. Don't have a website that has a stagnant thing. Have it to where it's going to a place where they're placing their order or seeing the price that has changed all the time to reflect your true costs, so that you're not playing 2 or 3 weeks catch up or 2 or 3 months catch up based on old pricing.
No, I think that's a phenomenal idea. Here's the problem, and you and I both know this as a mom and pop operation, they don't have time. They're already the marketing person. They're trying to be the accountant. They're trying to be the HR department. They're trying to do all these other things. How do they fit that into the thing, right? And this is huge, because what tech company is going to figure that out for them? If I need to stay at this item within a 10% margin, and my food bill comes in this week, and we already know what it costs to make these items, can it automatically adjust it for us? That's the next $1 million deal right there. But yes, I think, the fish guys are doing it in the fish markets, right? But they have that head chef that's all he's dedicated to do, is keep those items to market pricing, right?
Yep.
I think it needs, I think we can get to a comfortable spot, but even Tony Gimiani, Nick, and you've heard him say this many a times, there's seasons where he'll change his prices lower, but other items have to go higher. So it's not that he's trying to make a killing, and he could kept those prices there, but he tries to be fair with everybody and show the world that, hey, I'm being fair on my pricing. I'm going backwards, I'm going back down. And I think that's, I think it's something to talk about. It's just teaching and coaching on time and time management.
And the website's Perfecting Pizza, right?
Perfectingpizza.com, yes.
I wanted to make sure I spelled that right. I was like, my public school grammar was coming in there. So perfectingpizza.com. Any closing words on what, who's the ideal person to go to perfectingpizza.com? I'm guessing an independent pizza operator, but I'm guessing also, if I'm a burger joint, I'm going to find as much value. I just need to just maybe replace my eyes pizza with burger, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have employee handbooks. We have a checklist. We have anything and everything that you can think of for just the operational side of things. And it's very easy. You download it, you convert it to what you want it to be. So it's not just all pizza driven. It is on the how-to videos and et cetera like that. But as far as the operation and the business side, we have P&Ls there that you can use. We have weekly P&Ls, which I think is very important. These guys are going to accountants, and they're sending them their QuickBooks stuff. But guess what? They don't get a true report till 2 weeks after the month's already ended.
Yeah.
Well, you can't make any adjustments now. You need to know stuff daily, weekly. on where the numbers are and what's your break even on a day-to-day standpoint. And so we have all that information under one roof.
Love it. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on, Nick. I appreciate you putting this together so quick. I saw your post and it was timely because I'm like, man, I just had this conversation about pricing. You know, we're driving traffic to a restaurant, which is the goal of marketing. For ours is attract, build, retain, attract attention, build a database, retain them by getting them to come eat. But if they're eating a product that's priced wrong because it's not adjusted to today's market conditions, that's not a great combination. So when I saw your post, it was timely. And I'm like, I got to find out more about this and hopefully get the word out about what y'all are doing so that people can get the help they need, get the advice, and pick y'all's brains and become better operators so they can kick some more butt in the few years to come post-pandemic, right?
Right. And like just to close out too, the app is Perfect Food Cost, and you can go ahead and find it on Android and on Apple.
Perfect Food Cost on Android, Apple. Get the app. Appreciate you guys being on. America's Best Restaurants University, helping you price your pizzas a little better with Nick and Siler. Fellas, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.